On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, I recently ran across this article. What a 6% retirement withdrawal rate could mean for your golden years. So we're going to actually run some numbers here for you. What we use is the S&P 500 for the last 100 years. Got the $1 million, and we're going to come up with a 6% withdrawal rate, which would be $5,000 a month. It'd be $60,000 a year right here. And what we're going to do is go ahead and run the numbers using the returns for the S&P 500, uh, all the negative years, positive years, and everything in between. Let's go ahead and update this. This is using the 6% withdrawal rate. Most financial advisors, which I'm not one, recommend the 4%. How often would you run out of money? Looks like 6%. 6% at a time in the last 100 years. Some of those in the depression years and a couple during the year 2000. Why? Because 1930s was a down decade and the year 2000s was a down decade. But we're not going to leave it hanging here. What do you think would happen if we did a 70-30 split? What happens if you do a leave it all in the S&P 500? When the market's going down, that could be really problematic. For example, let's just go to 1929 here. You don't want to take this 60,000 out of the S&P 500 when it's already getting knocked down really bad by these 4 down years right here. So we're going to go ahead and do a 70-30 split. It's not going to make much difference in the 1929 numbers. Helped a little bit, but not that much because that was such a terrible downtrend. 4 down years and down a few more years and then 3 more down years. So 1929 was a horrible, horrible time to be in the stock market in the withdrawal stage. So let's go ahead and do the 70-30 split. In other words, 70% staying in the S&P 500, 30% going over a cash reserve account that's more liquid that you can withdraw from when the market's going down, because you don't want to knock this down any farther. In other words, you don't want to sell low. When the market's going down, you want the 60,000 coming out of the cash reserve account. So let's go ahead and update this. 6% of the time, you run out of money with a 6% withdrawal rate. Let's go ahead and do this. Calculating here. Okay, 4% of the time, if we do a 70-30 split, you can see that's an improvement because when the market's going down, it's coming out of the cash reserve account. But what have we left out? What have we left out? What's very crucial when you enter retirement, we need to look at giving yourself a COLA to try to keep up with inflation. And this is going to change the numbers because instead of 5,000 a month, we're going to go with a 3% COLA. Let's just do a two. Let's just go and do a 1% COLA and show you the progression here. Right now, you're running out of money 4% of the time with a 70-30 asset split. Now you're up to 6% of the time with a 1% COLA. In other words, 5,000 a month, 5,050, 5,101, so on. How about a 2% COLA? How many times would you run out of money in the last 100 years? 2% COLA, 9% of the time. Here's the graph. Again, they're in depression years, and you're seeing us widening up a little bit here around the year 2000, because again, some of these are kicking in and you're taking out more money each month. Let's go with an actual 3% COLA, 3% being the average inflation rate over the last 100 years. Actually, it's 3.2 or so, but let's go with 3%. See how this number might change. Again, we're looking at the 6% withdrawal rate and seeing how problematic that might be in some scenarios. Given the S&P 500, 14% of the time you'd run out of money, giving yourself a 3% COLA with a 70-30 split in the last 100 years. Here's the actual graph. Again, during the depression years, and it's widening out. More years are being affected. Why? Because you're hitting these years more. More of the years are being affected by this downturn here. You can just see it right here. Let's go up here to 2000. This is what we do with this channel. We run all kinds of different numbers for you just to show you. So you got 1997. It looks like you're still in good shape. You're down to 124,000 after 25 years. But as these years get closer and closer to when you first retire, it's going to really affect it. And I want you to notice the difference between 1997 and 1998. Now you're running out of money in less than 20 years. You're 1999. Again, you're down to 67,000 after 15 years. You can see in these years, they call this sequence of return risk. If we actually go to the year 2000, you're running out of money in less than 15 years. I think it's actually 14 years right here. You're actually running out of money. But that's what we do on this channel. So is a 6% withdrawal rate a safe one to go with? Well, 86% of the time you'd have a success rate after 20 years. Again, this is the graph. But again, you could get hit with something as recently year 2000 and be running out of money. Again, 5,000. But what haven't we taken into account? We haven't taken into account Social Security. Let's say, for example, you take Social Security in the fifth year. Say you're retiring at age 60 and you want to take it at 65. Let's see how much difference that would make. And we're going to use the average Social Security of 1900. Let's see how that might change things. In other words, this 5,000. Let's go ahead and click on this here. You're only going to need 3,500 after the fifth year because the Social Security is going to kick in. Let's see if this changes at all. 14% of the time you're running out of money, not taking into account Social Security. Only 2% of the time. See that Social Security. So when you're planning your retirement, 6% withdrawal rate, that's from the nest egg. But if you have your Social Security kicking in, for example, in the fifth year, let's take it the seventh year. Let's go ahead and increase this to 2140, I believe it was, because you're waiting. So you're going to get more in Social Security, but you're waiting longer before you starting that Social Security. So there's 5,000 increasing by 3% a year. It's knocking your nest egg down. Let's see how that might work. 2% of the time, only during the Depression years, and still 2% of the time. So it looks like the 6% withdrawal rate works just fine with a 3% COLA and a 70-30 split in every case, especially when you got Social Security kicking in. That's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. You want me to run numbers for you? Just give me 3 different criteria: your beginning balance, your monthly contribution if you're in the accumulation stage, or in this case, you were looking at the withdrawal stage, and also the COLA you want me to run. And we'll go ahead and run numbers for you. Again, thanks for watching this channel. Please consider subscribing, sharing, and liking these videos. Let other people know about this channel that I'll run numbers for them, any numbers they want. Thanks for watching.